Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Season A, the platform where we speak truth to power. Just to want to give you some updates. 1 second, let me just tilt this in the right manner because I think it's in my way a little bit. Yeah, that sounds a little bit better. Um, just want to give you an update. Um, Ibrahim Traore, Captain Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso, is really a man on a mission. He's trying to ensure that there is self sufficiency in his nation and indeed by extension the whole of Africa. So what you see are tractors that he presented to the Minister of Agriculture in uh, in Burkina Faso. So let's have a listen. Here we go.
Nous avons décidé cette année d'accompagner les producteurs. Le ministère avait déjà engagé un processus de labour gratuit de 64 000 hectares dans toutes les régions. En plus de ça, donc, nous avons décidé d'acquérir environ un demi-millier de tracteurs. Pour cette saison, il faut le dire que ces tracteurs seront utilisés pour labourer gratuitement les terres.
Okay, so fantastic. So there you see the picture. This is why I saw this on Make Africa Great Again, and I wanted to talk about it myself from my own perspective as well. Very, very important that we talk about this. Let's read exactly what he has proposed and what he's planning to do. So, Captain Ibrahim Traore of Mali, the president, sorry, of Burkina Faso. Captain Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso, as you see in the picture, he hands over agro-pastoral inputs and equipment to strengthen food production. A lot of African leaders will know by now that food production is really, if you get that under control, that is where we really, need to go. That is what we must have control of, and that is what he's doing. The head of state of Burkina Faso, Captain Ibrahim Traore, officially handed over samples of agro-pastoral and fishery inputs and equipment to the minister in charge of agriculture. This initiative aims to support stakeholders in the rural world and increase food production in the country. Very, very important piece of information right there. I think it's very, very good. Many of our African leaders are indeed thinking along those. Many of the new African leaders is particularly focusing on the alliance of Sahel states. This is their goal: self-sufficiency, self-sufficiency, and this will obviously, when they are doing this, those in the Western world want to us to have a particular narrative that we cannot do anything for ourselves, that Africans cannot solve their own problems, when in actual fact, the people who are ensuring that the Africa never solves our problems are those who are bringing in these military bases, which I'll come and talk about later on, to ensure that there is permanent division on the African continent. And then they will bring this, pretend to be benevolent, and bring food which ultimately are harmful, the things within those food. We need to produce our own food. We do not need to be receiving foreign help. Africa has got 60% of the world's fertile land. Uh, you know, we can be the breadbasket to the entire world. So the plan of Traore, obviously it shocks them, but it shocks the Western powers. But we are not surprised because these leaders, as you see Ibrahim Traore here, they are thinking about their people. Their focus is how their people are going to really, you know, get the most, and put them as top priority above all else on the African continent. That is how we should be. We should support the alliance of Sahel states. Let me talk about that briefly to you, with you, so that you can see what I mean. These are the leaders in the alliance of Sahel states. Of course, you've seen, I just spoke about minutes before, Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso. You have General Chani of Niger, and then you have Assim Goita of Mali. Now, President Faye of Senegal is not in the alliance of Sahel yet, but don't be surprised if it does happen, because what they're saying and the things they're saying, they are connecting, because it's about freeing Africa, getting the feet of France and the Western powers off the neck of Africa and Africans. So we are very, 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 supportive of what they're doing, and we need more African leaders who are going to be speaking up for their people. not their own personal pockets, for their people. The people of Africa comes first, and we need leaders who will actually act on that basis. The four that you see on the screen here, they're demonstrating that fact. And Ibrahim Traore is an action president, working and thinking about how to ensure that the concerns of the people, i.e., food production, is something that they solve. Now, having the fact that they've kicked out the French and all of the other foreign military, the food security will be much more possible, because now all of this, um, bandits or whatever they will call them, who are being funded by those Western powers, will not be able to operate within the alliance of Sahel states. Because, of course, as you know, those three states, Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali, if you attack one, you attack all of them. And of course, they are in discussions with Russia, and not discussions. Russia is teaching them, training them, and how to make sure that they can become, you know, to defend themselves, without relying on anybody else. So that is the plan, and that is something that we need to put in place. As I stated, there are over 50, maybe even 200 bases, all of which have Western powers in Africa causing divisions, and that is what we need to state. We have to be very, very clear about that. Under the guise of this, and the same countries who are telling you about religion are the same ones who are bringing military to destabilize your nations. That is sheer hypocrisy right there. That is sheer hypocrisy right there, and we shouldn't have them on African soil. If they are, if once it is, since it is evident to us that they are about creating divisions, oppression, and preventing and impoverishing us on our land whilst they're looting our resources, we want nothing to do with them. That's why we need to support the likes of the presidents that you see on the screen above. Again, Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso, General Chani of Niger, Assimi Goita of Mali, and of course President Faye, who we hope he can be part of that alliance of Sahel as well, states. So this is really, really important, and I wanted to really talk about that, and I felt it was something that we should really talk about. Don't forget, of course, I want to just quickly touch on something whilst I was here. The Yoruba calendar. I'm just quickly going to show you. For those of you that may not be in the know, we are in the month of Oshuagairawe. We still got another 8 days left till the end of that Yoruba calendar month. And of course, as you know, the Yoruba calendar month is 28 days. 28 days. So after the 17th, we will now go to the new month. 17th of May will now go beginning of new month, and I will let you know. We are going to be talking about this so that we can become familiar. In Yoruba, the month that we are in is called Oshuagairawe, and the day that it's relevant is the 9th. If you see the 9th of 9th of May, according to the Gregorian calendar, but it's the last day of the Yoruba week, Ojo Shango Jakuta, and that is the last day, and that's why you see it on the broadcast there. And we need to be bringing as much information among ourselves as Africans to know our own history, our own ancestral calendar, and follow it as much as possible, because that is part of who we are, and we need to embrace our African spirituality. So this is what we do on this platform. So we are very, very grateful for the work being done by those African leaders, and we need to support them. As Africans, we need to protect them, because mark my words, don't be no doubt, the West will be looking at ways in which they are going to destabilize these countries who are putting Africans first for the first time, and using and Russia is helping. Don't get me wrong. What we do need to make sure that anybody that's going to work with African countries has to have adhere to the memorandum of understanding that Africans are going to write, and they must stick to that memorandum of understanding. So the Alliance of Sahel States have got a memorandum of understanding with Russia, that the aim is that self-sufficiency, independence, real independence, not this illusion, not this imaginary illusion that the West have used to sort of bamboozle the puppets they put in place. Right now, these leaders are speaking for their people, and they need our support. We need to expand the alliance of our Sahel states across the whole of the of Africa, because Africa must be free. Africa is not free right now, and these guys, they are pioneering something here, in the mold of Thomas Sankara, in the mold of Patrice Lumumba, and these are great leaders that we really must make sure that we support. And these are the things that we like to talk about on this show. Leaders that are talking about and thinking ahead vision of thinking of freedom of to be able to produce self-sufficiency. We don't have to be importing our food from places around the world. We can be self-sufficient because 60% of the land's most fertile land in the world is on the African continent. We have no excuses right now. What we need to do is work together. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, you are listening to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. How do you view this? What are your thoughts on this? Let's have your thoughts on it. Is this not an amazing and incredible thing to see a young man taking decisions for his people to make sure that there is support for people who are going to be growing, and doing farming to feed their community. When your people are able to feed themselves, then they have no concerns, because feeding yourselves and having the stability with no foreign interference whereby they're destroying land and they're using mercenaries to come and scare the people out of their own communities and everything else, create stability. So this is why it's important that we support all of the men, all of the African heroes that we're seeing on the screen. We must support them. We must at every point show what we can do. This is a visionary. The leader, Ibrahim Traore, is a visionary leader looking far ahead. How can we be self-sufficient? We plan that into it. And part of being self-sufficient, you need to have safety and security uninterrupted by Western powers that are there to clearly divide Africa. We once again state that all African countries must demand for they must demand that all of the Western countries take their military bases and their personnel out of Africa, because they are there to cause division and to ensure that they can continue to exploit African resources. Those tanks are used to cut away our mineral resources on Africa. I kid you not. It is time we woke up. What are your thoughts on what you just had? You're of course watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak to power. I know this scares a lot of the Western world because they do not want Africa, or no, do they believe that Africa can be self-sufficient, can plan ahead, and they prefer to put this false narrative that Africa can't do anything, because they put puppets in there to ensure that we're unable to do things. Now that they remove Bazoum, and of course you see Ibrahim Traore remove the other leaders, and then Asim Goita, and then the people, popular support behind President Faye, and you see in all of those countries, all of the Africans are saying we want the US out, we want the French out, we don't want any colonial powers on our soil. And it is their right as sovereigns to express that. And we must support that. Ladies and gentlemen, you are of course watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. I do apologize earlier when I did the broadcast, but there was a very, very funny noise I had to just that's why I've taken that away right now. So I'm redoing this. I hope it gives you context and you can clear understanding of where we're going in terms of the broadcast, to support all African leaders that we can see are really working for their people. These are people that we can really say, putting up the alliance of Sahel states and beginning to protect themselves and making sure they're getting the support from people, countries like Russia, where they have a memorandum of understanding that they are not going to supersede or override or put the interest of the Africans in the back room somewhere whilst the resources are exploited. That's not going to happen. And the object is for us to be self-sufficient in all areas. And that is what I can see from these leaders. We must support them. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, you are watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak to the power. Please subscribe to Citizen AY. Go ahead and subscribe, hit the notification button, and of course, give us a thumbs up and help us grow the platform. Also, go to our website, www.citizenay.org. If you can give us super chats or stars, or follow us on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram, on X, and of course YouTube. Thank you so very much. You've been listening to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. And we salute all our leaders here, and we need to encourage them and support them. And the people of each of those countries are behind those leaders. It is very important. The people, the Africans, are behind them, and that is very, very important. And that is not the case in many of the African countries, that the puppets have been installed upon the people by the Western powers. That is why we don't want the Western powers on the African continent. We do not have any problem with the people of Europe or the people of US, but their governance is causing destabilization on the African continent, and it's time that we Africans take control of our own affairs, and we must, and they cannot stop us. We must exercise our sovereignty. I hope this resonates with you. What are your thoughts? You are listening to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth power. Please share this broadcast, and of course, and let us have your thoughts as well. Thank you so very much. You've been listening to Season AY, the platform where we speak truth about electrons. Thank you, and bye for now.